One of the issues I've encountered often in my astrology practice is the presence of very stubborn, emotional, and psychological disease patterns within families. The client who comes to me is usually the most conscious individual in their tribe, yet they may filter or express some of the more dire symptoms of their biological karmic imprint. Miasms are a homeopathic term for constellated disease patterns in families. A miasm is an energy field that permeates the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual realms. You may exhibit symptoms on any and all levels depending on the strength of the miasm and or your purpose in working through some of the family karma. When someone says alcoholism or cancer runs in the family, they are mistaking or limiting the experience to solely the physical, material plane. There is some minor limited truth to the statement, but more importantly, it is not addressing the mental or emotional thought forms that created that state. From a limited scientific view, people in families inherit a gene. But from a more expanded perspective, that gene is simply the result of a continued way of viewing the world, instigating biochemical responses that will create the same physical disease state as their previous relatives. And this miasmic field is a living entity and needs the misaligned energy of the host to feed off of. That is why even the best intentioned among us often fall prey to the family curse. If we have not addressed the original wounding and emotional patterning, we cannot fail to revisit the scene of the crime and recreate the exact same dynamics that we ran away from. This occurrence makes sense in a vibrational universe where we are sending out messages that attract the denied shadow back to ourselves for awareness and integration. I don't think there's anyone these days who is not connected to a miasmic system in some way, except for perhaps Aboriginal individuals in New Zealand, as this is a condition of the modern world of dissociating from the spiritual dimension of life. And while the intensity or effects vary, it is certain that if you experience chronic disease, addiction, violence, or poverty, your family system has a miasmic marker. This is a little of the when bad things happen to good people syndrome, because even if you yourself do not engage in the self-destructive behavior, you will attract into your field a person or situation who embodies the negative qualities of your particular miasm for you to acknowledge and heal. Depending on our ancestry, we're carrying a chosen inherent blueprint that serves our ultimate growth. This doesn't necessarily mean it will become acute or chronic, but if we experience a stressful situation, the miasm will be triggered. This is why divorce, bankruptcy, job loss will affect people in different ways. There are 5 major types of miasms. The first one, Sora, the root word for psoriasis, deals with the mental problems of poverty mentality and fear of lack. The person afflicted with this feels they cannot take care of themselves. Connected to Earth and perhaps the sign of Taurus, the person might upset their physical balance with food or sugar disorders, and the reaction to stress or loss possibly gives Sora a connection to Aquarius, which is correlated with trauma. The psychotic miasm can be related to Jupiter in both a positive or negative way. This miasm consists of overdoing, extravagance, too much of an overproduction of everything: hair, warts, mucus, fibroids, addictive behavior, and overattraction to sex, marijuana, and psychedelics. The syphilitic miasm is one of the hardest and most self-destructive and includes problems such as depression, suicide, violence, alcoholism, and memory loss. The body destroys itself from the inside out. I would connect this miasm to Pluto, Mars, and Saturn energies. By the way, I believe cities have miasmic characteristics too, and Los Angeles, with its fantasy and over-the-topness, fits the psychotic gonorrhea miasm quite well, while New York City is truly a syphilitic city with its greed, ruthlessness, will to power, and self-destructive tendencies. 2 other miasms include the tubercular miasm and the cancer miasm. The tubercular individual is vacillating, prone to weakness, mood swings, and lack of willpower. For instance, they will choose to smoke even though it is not good for them. We can connect this energy to fire and air elements and include Gemini, the lungs, as a possible sign significator. The disease of cancer is also considered a miasm, and its main underlying thought form is not knowing one's true purpose in life. Capricorn, status, Virgo, right work, and perhaps the sign of Cancer, self-nurturing, should be implicated here. The type of Cancer, location-wise, would probably reveal what thought pattern is most out of alignment, i.e. prostate cancer, virility, breast cancer, lack of self-nurturing, throat cancer, repression of rage, or not being able to speak one's truth. Now, what would be the cosmic purpose of inheriting these diseases? Is there not a positive permutation of miasms? Absolutely, and perhaps overcoming or learning to manage the miasm in a healthy way may be part of our karma dharma in this life. This can be an example of the wound is actually the gift when viewed from a higher perspective, as it will create the necessary focus and attention. For Sora, the person will oftentimes work to add structure to their life. Hence, they realize their capacity to manifest and understand they can overcome or bounce back from adversity by creating a secure emotional and financial foundation. For psychotics, the individual brings great energy and creativity to life. They are pushing us past our previous boundaries. They are the heroes and wayfinders if in balance. For syphilitics, one can learn how to manage power and resources and transform negative thinking into a wise understanding of the value of positive life force energy. TB individuals are the artists and healers in this life, having empathy and understanding for others. Through their work, they allow us to access our inner dreams. The Cancer individual, once he or she finds their purpose, is steadfast and generous and can radiate love into the world around them. Grounding and emotional healing are the result. So as an alternative to invasive Western medical models, it would behoove us to revisit the centuries-old healing modality of homeopathy. Finding balance within, or homeostasis, will also bring us to a place where we can manifest our respective destinies in a loving and joyful way. Our bodies are always talking to us, and they oftentimes take the hit when we have not addressed issues on a spiritual, mental, or emotional level. So why not wake up and listen to them? From the micro to the macro, our becoming healthy positively affects the entire world. I'm Meta Astrologer Patrice Kamens.